Welcome to Adventures with Afterthought. This is the first of many videos that we'll have up on the page. We're going to be going through some tour stories. I've been all around the world on tour. I've been with tons of different artists in so many different weird, wild scenarios that it's time for me to share some of those, and I hope that you enjoy it. So, for the first story, it's going to be about the time that I went on tour with French Montana. I'm not really sure how this whole story even took place and what exactly was going on. So let's put this all in perspective before we get into the rest of this story. Now, this is about 2012, 2013 or so. My music career wasn't really a career yet. I didn't even know what I was doing. I barely just started DJing. I just got out of school. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life in general, let alone music. It was a wild time and we didn't have much experience. The most that we did was we threw some local shows, and we did local shows around the city and did different things. French Montana tour was not something that we ever thought or imagined would happen. Luckily, I had one of my best friends in the whole world. His name's Jordan Lyles. He was my first manager. He was my business partner at the time. And we just kind of schemed and tried to throw shows and just do anything we could inside the music realm that would get us a little bit further and a little bit more in the door and try to make this all work. I don't know how exactly it happened or at what point we got in contact with them, but we got in contact with French Montana's management somehow. Totally random, totally ridiculous, not sure how it happened, like I said, but it happened. We ran with it. And we had some back and forth conversations and kind of just figured it out, and somehow, some way, they were like, yeah, come do the last couple shows on tour. And by the grace of God, we ended up being on the French Montana tour. They're like, come out and do a couple shows on the West Coast with us, you can open. I didn't even know what to say because I was trying to be an artist, I was DJing, I didn't even know what I was gonna do, let alone how I was gonna react or how I was gonna, perform. So the first obstacle was we were super broke at the time. We threw local shows, we did little local things, but we didn't have big time travel budgets by any means. We had to figure out a bunch of people that wanted to go with us and bring the team and bring everybody, but we didn't have very much funding. We somehow scrounged together and got some money and put it together, and we were able to get some flights and we were able to get out there. And that was the first step, huge first step for us. We landed in San Francisco, California. We are super hyped. We'd never been there, never got to experience anything like this, and we felt like superstars until we got to our hotel. Just a crappy hotel, something that we could afford, obviously, and we had to put a bunch of people in it. If you've ever been in a situation where you've gone on a trip or you've gone somewhere and you had to pack into a hotel room with a bunch of your friends or a bunch of your homies, put it down in the comments. I want to hear all about it because I've had to do it so many times. In the beginning, man, we would pack these hotel rooms out. We'd sleep on the floors. People would sleep in the tub. It didn't matter. Wherever you could sleep, you would sleep. So after we get there, everybody's super hyped. Everybody gets to the hotel. Everybody starts getting ready, whatever. Super good atmosphere. That day, me and Jordan leave a little bit early and we go to the venue. When we get to the venue, the adventure really begins. Up until this point, we didn't know anybody. French's team that we were emailing back and forth with, we had like maybe one call with, like text and email. So we didn't really know anybody. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know where to go, what anybody looked like. Aside from French Montana, we had no idea. When we get to the venue, we're kind of looking around, trying to figure out where we're supposed to go. We don't have a contact for the actual venue. We just have a contact for Easy. If you know French Montana, you know Easy. Easy's a huge, big, boisterous guy, awesome dude. Again, we didn't know him at this point. We just had his number and we had his email. So we hit him up and we didn't hear back right away. So when we're at the venue, we're kind of looking in the windows, tapping, seeing, hey, where do we go? How do we get in here? What do we do? And they're just looking at us like we're crazy. There's no openers on this show. This is the French Montana tour. They just did 28 shows, no openers, right? So the venue, they're not having it. They're like, get in line with the other 25 fans that are out there. You're crazy. We're feeling like, oh man, this is defeating right off the bat. A couple minutes later, Easy gets back to us, says, oh, my bad, sorry, I'm not getting back to you. I'm gonna contact the venue. A couple more minutes later, come by, production manager comes outside, my bad, didn't know, miscommunication, come on in. We're like, all right, cool. We go inside, we get to our green room. We had never had a green room ever. I'd never had a green room ever. I think that my green rooms might have been like a bathroom or like a closet or something, right? When I get to the green room, I'm just ecstatic. There's like some snacks and stuff. I'm like, this is great. The next thing he says is, are you ready to come and do your sound check? Let me know. I had never done a proper sound check ever in my entire life. Other than working as like in the audio engineering field and doing sound checks that way, as an artist, DJ, I had never done a sound check. So I just kind of stared at him like, let's do it, right? So the next thing I know, we're out on stage and I'm stumbling through this sound check. I have this little mini deck Newmark controller with these little jog wheels. It was so not official. I mean, these guys had Technics and CDJs and everything looked so fire on stage, and here's me in my little corner with my tiny little Newmark. It was embarrassing to say the least. We were making this happen no matter what. We get out there, we do our sound check, everything goes relatively well. Let's go back up to the green room. Go back up to the green room, we start settling in, eat some food, have a couple beers, just kind of getting in the mood and everything. And next thing we know, one of French's homies comes up and he's in the green room. Did not know that we were supposed to be there at all. He's there, he's like, kind of looking at us, and then we hear him go next door and talk to the production manager. He's like, well, where's our green room? And the production manager's like, oh, those are your openers or part of your, your tour party, blah, blah, blah. And dude, we can hear him being like, what? They just did a whole tour with no openers, so this guy has no idea who we are either. Next thing we know, we hear an even bigger voice with the production manager saying, who's in our green room? What's going on? And now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. Who is this? Why are these people? I thought we were supposed to open. I'm looking at Jordan. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about it. And again, we didn't know who it was at the time, but Easy walks in. And he kind of looks at us and we immediately introduce ourselves. And he's just like, oh, got you, my bad. Oh, and he's telling the production manager, my bad, miscommunication. Oh, super cool guy, super nice. Asked us, do you need anything? Are you good? Blah, blah, blah. We were cool. Everything was straight. It's time for me to go perform my first show on the French Montana tour, and I am terrified. So I'm back there, we give a little pep talk, and everybody's all hyped up, super happy to be there, but I'm scared and I don't care. I walk out there, I'm like, yo, what's going on, Bay Area? They go crazy. They had just been sitting there for an hour listening to ambient music. Of course they're gonna go crazy. In my mind, they were just happy to see me. I go out, and I perform a song. I'm like, I'm gonna start this out. I'm gonna just do a song. One of my songs that you will never hear because it was terrible. So I just decided this is a great idea. I do the song, and to my surprise, they don't hate it, right? They're just like, all right, cool, that was all right. I don't know, I've been to tons of concerts as well, tons of different shows, and whenever there's openers that you don't know, there's a certain kind of energy. You want to see the people you're there for. You want to sing along. You want to hear your favorite songs, right? You're not there to see some person you never heard before. So I get it. That's a great thing too that I would love to hear about. If you've ever been to a concert and you were waiting there and you got to see an opener, whether it was a horrible experience or whether you're a fan of them now, put that down in the comments too, because I'll put some down there and we'll talk about that later on. The energy was there. I did my thing and they showed a little bit of love. I was just happy that I didn't get booed, really. That was a win to me. So after that, my buddy, he was an R&B artist. We're like, yeah, let's go out. You do a couple songs in the middle and we'll just keep the whole thing flowing, right? He comes out, he's super hype. Everybody's still kind of grooving and stuff. And he comes out. This is a French Montana tour. Excuse my French album, French Montana tour in the Bay, right? So you got to think, not really the biggest R&B crowd. At that point, we didn't even think any of this through. We were just happy that we were there at all and just super excited. He goes out and he starts doing his song. Energy's not bad, but you can just feel a little bit of tension. So he goes out and he kills it. He crushes, he does so well. I was so impressed. The crowd just wasn't really having it. It was an R&B artist at a French Montana tour. It wasn't mixing that well, right? So they come out and they're, a little bit of like, talking and bickering in the crowd. No, we can't let this happen, right? We have to figure this out on the fly, flip the switch, right? My big idea is come out swinging, just start DJing Bay Area jams. The whole vibe turns back into a party. Everybody's dancing. I'm doing like really quick edits of just into songs. Boom, 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 boom. So all the energy's back. I'm feeling it again. I'm like, okay, we're gonna end this. I'm gonna do another song. This is my best song. This is the best song that I ever made, right? The song, it was terrible. Looking back at it now, I know that the song was so trash, but whatever. At the time, it was my best song. I was gonna do this damn song. I was in San Francisco. I was in front of these people. I was feeling good. I went out. I did it. It was a real New York style, East Coast hip hop type song. It went over really well and the people actually enjoyed it. And I was super happy, super proud of myself. And I went out just super happy. After that, went up to the green room, just super happy with each other. We went down. Easy and the crew and the French guys were super cool. They let us go on stage and watch the show and just chill with them. So it was awesome. Had a great time the rest of the night. The next day, we go down to LA. At this time, my little sister is living in Laguna Beach. She's working, she's going to school, has some friends there. So we're like, hey, we have an off day. We're gonna go down there, stay with her. And then the next day is the LA show. When I first link up with my sister, we go to eat, do all the family stuff. And afterwards, she gives me this little thing. And it's a little cartridge thing. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, what is this? She's like, it's a vape pen. And at this point, I had no idea what a vape pen was. I'd never seen wax. I'd never seen oils. If you wanted to smoke weed, it was just weed. There was just flour. That's all we had. We were on the East Coast. I just didn't know. She gives it to me and she's like, yeah, there's some wax in it. This is for you, take it. My buddy owns Cloud Vapes. It's one of the first vape companies, look them up. It's called Cloud Vapes. She's like, yeah, just hold down the button. And it was like the old one, you know, with the little coil inside. You had like, it just heated up. You could like look at it, you press the button, it turns a little orange, you know, the old school style. I hit it and I'm like looking at my sister like, what is this, you know? And it kind of tastes like weed, but it's kind of weird. And I'm just like, is this working? Is this not? Whatever. This is a whole new experience. I hit it, whatever I have it, I put it in my pocket. So just remember that for later, okay? Just put that off to the side. Great day. Had a great day, great night. Time to go to bed, wake up the next day. We're gonna crush this LA show, right? Make some adjustments to the set, all kinds of stuff. The next morning, we wake up, everybody's hype, everybody's ready to go, everybody's ready to kill this LA show. House of Blues, Sunset Boulevard, iconic venue, everybody's super hype. We get up, we go get breakfast, we drink some mimosas, everybody's just living life. It's great. If you're familiar with Hollywood at all, you know about the Sunset Strip House of Blues. It's iconic. Now, it's not there anymore, but obviously it was when we played it, and it was so dope. If you know that area, you know right there on Sunset in Hollywood, like kind of right next door to the venue is a Best Western. And I know when I think about Best Western, it's not like the most luxurious hotel where I'm like, oh, the Best Western on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. But we didn't have a lot of money and we were trying to make the most of it. It was right next to the venue. We were like, hey, it must be kind of nice. It's on Sunset Boulevard. We get there, it is the nicest Best Western that I've ever seen. And if you know Hollywood, like I said, and you know where this venue is and you know this hotel, you know that I'm right. You walk in and there's all these like Mediterranean style sculptures and it's just got this like jungly feel and it's got a big courtyard with a pool and it's really dope, right? You get to the room, just plain ass room, 8 deep, just put our everywhere, whatever. So now we get checked in, everything's cool, time to go to the venue to go check in. We get to the venue, the second time this happens. Same thing as San Francisco. We get there, they don't know who we are, they don't know what we're talking about, but this time, the line's even longer, security's crazier, the whole scene is crazier. Now they're like, not just like, hey, we don't know what you're talking about. They're like, hey, get off the property, right? So we're just kind of vibing with it, trying to figure out what we're gonna do. And again, Easy hits us a couple minutes later. Production manager comes back out again. Oh, hey, sorry guys, we didn't know, miscommunication, whatever. We're like, cool, this is the second time, we're used to it at this point, whatever, we get inside. We get to the green room. The green room. The green room in the House of Blues was so much cooler than the green room in the nice ass venue that we played in San Francisco. But man, these green rooms were dope. If you've ever been to the House of Blues anywhere, there's like 8 or 9 of them in the US, you know that the inside of the House of Blues just has this vibe. It has this feeling. It's got really nice architecture. It's got gold fixtures and paintings and just really cool stuff all over the place. The bars are all handcrafted, hand cut wood for all the fixtures, and there's all kind of chandeliers, just really, really cool stuff. There's different levels and, you know, there's boxes and private areas and cool things like that. That actually carries over into the green room. There's just all this really custom stuff in the green room. So we get there and we have our own, and there's one across that's French's. We have snacks, they have us drinks, all kind of stuff. And we're just like, wow, like we feel like we're big artists. This is the first time we ever did this. San Francisco was amazing, like 2,500 people, really dope venue, but it was a little bit older and it just wasn't, the hospitality factor just wasn't as big, but it was dope. We're blown away. We're just happy to be there. Guy comes up, he's like, yo, you want to do your sound check? And this time I'm just like, yeah, let's do the sound check. I know what a sound check is now. I know how to do a sound check. So I'm pumped. Let's get it done. We go down there, same thing though. I have to go with a little Newmark thing, kind of, you know, scurry on by or whatever. Not to mention, for a different story, we'll talk about it. Got to DJ some of the sets, some of their sets, and ended up doing some DJing for French Montana and all kind of stuff, but we'll talk about that later. Do the sound check, everything's great. We go upstairs and we're going to our green room. We're just hanging out, we're eating food, having a couple drinks, just trying to unwind before the show. This show was a little bit different from the San Francisco show because this was the last show of the tour, and it was also in Hollywood. All of these random people start showing up, and we're just in our green room, and French isn't here yet. All these people are coming, and they're just kind of looking around, right? So naturally, you can kind of look around, and one green room's us, right? Randomly, I don't know if you guys remember the Mob Wives, but there was a show on VH1, it was called Mob Wives. For whatever reason, 2 of the Mob Wives were just there at the show, and they were up in the green room area, and they just started talking to my sister. And somehow, some way, she had a vape pen, they started talking about it. They come into our green room and start hanging out with us. Tyga comes, Tyga walks in, looks around, says what's up. Next thing I know, walking by, just kind of walking, and then did one of these, like as they're walking by, kind of just kept looking in the green room, and then it kind of stopped and kind of came back. And I looked, and it was Rob Kardashian. And this was like prime time Rob Kardashian, like before all the crazy baby mama drama and all that stuff, the prime time Rob time, right? We're just like, is that Rob Kardashian? And he's just standing there looking at us, right? And I'm like, now looking like, did I do something to Rob Kardashian? Why is he staring at me? The whole time he's staring at the vape pen in my hand. I had hit the vape and he'd watch me hit the vape. And again, I don't know how on everybody else was out there about these vape pens, but I had never seen one and I didn't know what it was. I didn't expect him to really know, but it's Rob Kardashian, so why wouldn't he know, right? And he's like kind of looking at him like, hey, what's up, man? And he just says, what's up? And he's like, oh, you know, like, what is that? And he's like, I could smell weed or whatever. And I start explaining it to him. And at this point, my sister isn't in the room. It runs out and I'm offering it to Rob Kardashian. I'm like, yo, do you want to try this? And it runs out, right? Like there's nothing left in it. So I have this great idea. I'm like, oh, it's got like a coil. I'll put some weed in it. Put a little weed in it, whatever. Terrible idea. It like ended up breaking the thing. We start sitting there, whatever. Rob Kardashian sits down. We start talking. Everybody's carrying on. I'm looking at Jordan like, what is going on right now? This man is talking about landscape lighting. I will never forget it. He was talking about landscape lighting and I didn't even own a lawn to have a lawn mower, let alone a landscape lighting anything, right? The closest thing that I had to landscape lighting was the street light outside of the apartment building. So this was blowing our minds that this man was talking to us about this crazy thing. We didn't care that. We were like, this is Rob Kardashian, the Mob Wives are here, Tyga just walked by, all this crazy stuff's happening. Next thing we know, French Montana comes into the building, all this crazy stuff's happening, and who walks in first is none only than Easy. And Easy, again, isn't thinking about us, so he walks in and he's like, who's in the green room? And it's us again. And he comes in frantic and he's like, ah, and he's like, oh, what's up, guys? Walks French Montana over to his green room. A couple minutes later, it's like, hey, it's time for you guys to come up. It's showtime. LA, Hollywood, House of Blues. It's a Saturday night. We are so hyped to be here. We changed our game plan a little bit from the first show, did a little tweaking to make sure it went a little bit smoother. I step out on stage, Hollywood, LA, what's good? Try and be super excited. They're super excited. They just sat there for an hour, so I had the advantage. I went out, I did my first song, terrible song. They showed love, it was cool. Our homie came out, did a different song. It went over great. They loved him. It was great. Different crowd, LA, Hollywood, a little bit bougier. They were cool with the R&B. Did a great job again. They loved him, right? I played a bunch of jams again in the middle, DJ'd, everybody had a great time, everybody was dancing. I did my song again. Crushed it. I felt like we went out to California, we accomplished something, we made new friends. It was the first time ever that I left and went out into the crowd for a second and people were coming up to me and being like, yo, that was awesome, getting my info, my Instagram, all this stuff. We go back up to the green room. Now there's all kind of celebrities up there, all kind of celebrities, and we have our own green room. So now it's all these celebrities packed in a little area. There's the green room where French is in that's not that big, and then there's a little hallway area and then our green room, and there's all these people in the hallway area overflowing. So now people are overflowing into our green room and they're just looking at us like, who are you and why do you have this room? We're trying to get into French and we have to stand in a hallway and we are famous and you have a room with waters and snacks. I was just super nice to everybody and just acted like I was supposed to be there. I would go float into French's room. It was cool. After that, we go down for French's set. Everybody files downstairs. Easy makes sure that we're not with all the rest of the people that are there, All these people are stuffed on the side of the stage. Eazy's grabs us and brings us and makes sure that we're cool and like on the side and stuff. I'll never forget that. That was so amazing. The dude was just awesome. He killed the set. He had all these guest appearances come, all these crazy celebrities, Akon, Warren G, all these crazy dope people came. And it was just amazing. I met so many people off the vape pen because I was hitting it and people were like, yo, what's that? And these are like celebrities, right? So I'm just like showing them and I'm just like meeting all these people that I'm like, oh, and they're just because of this vape pen. So shout out my sister for the vape pen because it was awesome. So it comes to the end of the set and French wants to do a family picture. And a family picture is one of those pictures where the artist goes out on stage and the crowd's all behind you and you go, oh, 1, 2, 3. And then everybody goes crazy and puts their hands up and there's, you know, everybody gets the energy. It's a great picture, all that. He wants to do that. He has all his friends there. Chinks is there. Rest in peace to Chinks. There, Warren G, Akon, Tyga, Big Sean was there. There's all these people. So he gets everybody on the stage. Eazy grabs me and puts, so I'm like the only person that you don't know who they are in this picture. And if you want to see this picture, it's right here. French ended up posting the picture on his Instagram and it was so funny because there's all these people literally that you could recognize and then me. I loved it. Like, I'll never forget this experience ever. So it was amazing. When we went upstairs, my sister came upstairs. I knew that it was a picture, but I didn't really know. And she was like, yo, it's really dope. And she showed me that he posted it right away and all this stuff. So now I'm even more ecstatic. I'm like, oh, he posted this. Like, this is so dope. So next thing I know, French is about to leave on a party bus to go meet up with Wiz and I guess Snoop, but that I didn't know at the time, but it was Snoop and Wiz and they were about to go. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I was like, what? That's awesome. And was like, oh, when are we going? Basically invited myself. I don't know if they didn't have the heart or they were just like, whatever. Nobody said I couldn't. So I just was like, all right, I'm going. So this party bus pulls up and I'm looking around, everybody's cool with it. I was like, get on, whatever, and we're going. I also realized that I didn't know where my friends were. A couple of their phones were dead and I just didn't really know where they were. And I didn't really want to leave them, but I also didn't know, maybe they met people and they left. Like I just didn't really know what was going on. So on the way there though, Jordan gets a phone charger, calls me, says, hey, we're back at the venue still. We're going to head over to the hotel. We might need you to get in. So I'm a little bummed, but I'm not gonna leave my friends. I flew all the way across the country with my friends to be there. They held me down. There's no way I'm not holding them down. I don't care who's at this house. I really, really wanted to go there and go chill. As soon as we got there though, I headed back. I went and met up with my friends. I wanted to make sure they were cool. We went back to the hotel, celebrated, had a great night. And the next day we headed home and I will never forget the experience I had going on a French Montana tour. I really appreciate you guys listening to the first adventure of Afterthought, and I hope that you guys stick around and listen to the next ones. Next time on Adventures Afterthought, we're gonna go on another crazy wild ride, this time to the Billboard Music Awards, followed by EDC Vegas. It was a crazy time, a crazy adventure, but you're gonna have to wait till next time. But make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and do all those crazy YouTube-y things that you guys do to make sure that you're in the know, and I'll see you next time.
Can't wait.